if I wanted to watch it, I would watch a documentary.
Yeah, I'd go find something realistic.
I wanted to watch romance. I wanted to watch fantasy. I wasn't watching for reality.
A misconception in some of these rom-coms is almost like, okay, I won't take the big job at here. I won't go to college there because I want to be with you. But like, what about your dreams? What about your ambitions? Yes. Who cares about him or her? And
welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name is Osatohamen.
And my name is Uyiosa.
And here we are today for another episode.
Yeah, we're super excited to jump into another movie this week. This one's pretty big. It can be considered a romance. Others might disagree with the ending, saying that it's not. But you know, I like the complexity of the movie. I like the things it shows. The movie's called La La Land. For those of you that haven't heard of it, I'll do a quick little summary. It came out in 2016, so almost 10 years ago, actually. In fact, funny story, I actually remember exactly when this movie came out when I was in 5th grade. And I remember I was so upset, or it come out I'd started 5th grade right after it come out. And I remember being so upset that I couldn't watch the movie. I was because again, I was 9 or 10 at the time. My parents weren't gonna let me watch a PG-13.
I think you knew about it because remember how I told you that I had watched it for my 8th grade birthday party. Yeah,
but I think for some reason when it came out, I think I saw the trailer somewhere. When YouTube and when we used to have cable and stuff, and you would get ads. Actual ads.
The old days.
Literally, I remember I would see the movie and I'd be like, oh, I want to watch it. And it was PG-13. And even when I turned 13, I think I watched it honestly 2 years ago, maybe not even up to. So it wasn't that long ago. But just a quick little rundown. It's kind of it's a little bit of a musical, a romance film, but it's set in Los Angeles. And so these two characters, there's Sebastian and Mia. So Sebastian is basically this aspiring jazz artist band kind of guy. His goal is to start his own jazz studio bar. Yeah. He wants to own his own place. He wants to music.
Club. That's the word.
Club. Yeah. But he wants to make music. He wants to own his own club. He wants people to come and hear his music because he thinks almost jazz is dying out. He thinks that
it is
LA,
dying.
It is he thinks LA and all these people aren't representing what jazz truly is. And so Mia is the struggling actor. She's a barista that works at the Warner Brothers Plaza. So again, they're both
stereotypical LA artistic minded people.
Aspiring for something. And the funny thing is the very first scene, it's the scene where they're both in their cars and they're in this really big traffic, and they basically there's this scene where she's supposed to be able to let him in, but then she's basically cuts him off and stops the car in front of him, and he's kind of what are you doing? And then they have a whole fight, and then they both go to a party and they see each other and they're oh my goodness. And it's your typical kind of enemies to lovers, but then they kind of bond over their both aspiration for the arts and music and being aspiring artists for both of them. And so they kind of struggle with just aspiring to their dreams. As the movie goes on, they get closer and closer. Mia gets roles and Sebastian gets gigs and things happen, and they're achieving these dreams and they're doing it together and they're falling in love. But then so many things are happening with these opportunities that they realize that they might not be able to be together. And so that's kind of just the basis of the movie. It is a romance, but again, the ending, if you haven't watched, I won't spoil it, but the ending's it's pretty tragic. It's pretty sad. It's definitely not. I think people weren't expecting that coming into the movie, too.
I think that, so, like I said, I watched it for my 8th grade birthday party, but 8th grade, that's a bunch of 13-year-olds. The planning of the party just didn't work. And, if you watch a movie at the end of a party, a lot of times people leave or any stuff like that. So, by the time we were getting close to the end, the movie we hadn't finished the ending. And I never watched it for years after that. I just really? I've watched 80% of the movie, and I haven't watched more. But beginning of last year, beginning of 2 years ago, I went to a La La Land theme party that my friend was hosting, and we watched it, and we watched till the end, and I was furious.
You're like, what?
I was so upset. And I'm like, no. Because, like, as if you are new to this channel, you don't know, but, or podcast, but we love romance in this. We're like sisters that love romance books. Like, all our books, the only books we read have romance. Like, if it's not how we like it, we don't read it, we don't watch it.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is the ending for me was just like completely opposite of all the like happily ever after, like when the two leads come together and they fall in love and it's all good at the end. And so for me, I saw the reality of it because it's true. In the end of a lot of relationships, like you don't always end up with, you know, that first love or the first magical person like that. And it's like the person that is more, you know, stable and everything. But I'm like, if I wanted to watch that, like I said yesterday, I was like, if I wanted to watch that, I would watch a documentary.
Yeah, I'd go find something realistic.
I wanted to watch romance. I wanted to watch fantasy. I wasn't watching for reality. And so I still am very...
It's called fiction for a reason. It's not real.
Exactly. Like they were imagining themselves in one part of the movie flying in the like sky, dancing. I'm like, this isn't reality. So why are we expecting the ending to be reality? It's just... There was just so many. I'm still upset. There were a lot of
things going on, but I think
what do you think? Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, kind of like, just hopping into like, I think why they fell in love in the first place, and kind of like why their love almost felt perfect, because it was like, how many people do you think like meet each other and they're both aspiring to be like great artists, they're both aspiring for these dreams, and together in that relationship they're able to grow as people and inspire each other and achieve those dreams? Because like, even though they don't end up together in the movie, they are like, while they're still together, they're achieving those dreams. They're becoming better and better. She's getting more acting gigs, he's getting more like singing and jazz, and like he's becoming part of like bands, and he's doing things that he actually wants to do. And so I think the reason they fell for each other is because they had such similar ambitions and interests. So this romance almost felt like it was perfect, especially like watching it. You're like, there's no way this isn't going to work out. Like they just have to be. Like, they're both artists. They both love what they're doing. They're both pushing each other. They want the best for each other. But I think of reality in an industry like Hollywood, in acting, singing, bands, anything that requires like the not sitting at a desk. Basically, it's like the chances of you having like a stable relationships, like sometimes actors are gone for years like filming like a movie, especially movies that are more complex.
And that was in the movie. Like she had to go to Paris for a bit. I think it was like maybe a year or two or something like that. Something and wrong. So it's like this new budding relationship that they had. It would have been...
And he's also like, apparently, I think he was going on tour, right?
Yeah, and he had been like on tour for a while, so they were already kind of separated, but he would still be able to come back.
Yeah, but it's like, are you gonna go to Paris?
Yeah,
and like come home? Like, it's like you're already going, like, in the country's hard enough. Now you're out of the country, and it's all these other things. So I think, like, as great as the relationship was, it shows the reality of like how relationships like that can be so difficult. Because like they didn't fall out of love. There wasn't like any animosity. There wasn't any like hatred. Like by the end of the movie and even the end of the relationship, they were both content because they knew our love, as like horrible as it is, our love isn't enough to keep us together. Because at the end of the day, that's the reality of life. Love can't, like, love is obviously at the basis of a relationship, but that can't always keep you together. If there's so many outside factors, you have to think about that. And that's what they did. And they realized that they, maybe not in this lifetime, maybe not at that specific time, they couldn't be together.
Yeah, and, you know, I harp on the movie a lot because of the ending, but in reality, it really is realistic. I think that in all types of relationships, in family and friendship and in, like, you know, romantic relationships, like, sometimes the happily ever after isn't exactly what we're expecting. We saw it in this movie. Like, at the end, they realized we were actually better apart. And sometimes that really is how it is in real life. And I think that, like you were saying, part of the reason that they fell for each other was because they had this similarity, because they were like, we're both like aspiring people in this like tough industry. Like we both, have, like, people don't appreciate the arts the same way that we do, but we can appreciate it together because we are both very interested in very similar things, and they were able to come together and love each other. But I think that it's a good message to show that love is not what encompasses all of relationships, whether that be your family, your friends, and your romantic relationship. It needs to be more. You need to be in the reality of it. Is this financially correct? Is it emotionally correct? Is it going to work in the long run? And I think
Yeah.
that these are all things you need to be thinking about. Maybe not so much familial, because like family is kind of like always together, but for
You don't have a
friendship,
choice to love.
yeah. But like friendship and for romantic relationships, like I think that that is just the reality of it. You always have to make sure that you're going into a relationship where you are getting something, but then you're also giving something, and it's it's equal. You're trying to be as equal as possible. I know it's never ever possible to do 50-50, but however,
Exactly.
if both of you were striving in this two-way relationship to be that equal partner, it's very hard for me to see someone lacking um in care and everything. And so I think that I I don't love the ending, but I do see and I appreciate the reality of that not all relationships are going to work out. Relationships sometimes have an end time, and that is perfectly okay.
Exactly. And I think just another thing about the movie is realizing I feel like a lot of like rom-coms and romance movies, they make sacrifices for each other that are a lot to ask. And like in this case, the sacrifices they would have had to make for to be together would have literally damaged their career, what they've worked their entire life, what their livelihood was, what their dreams were. They were basically, and they knew neither of them could give that up. And that's so they were like, okay, this relationship can't work, which again, they were content with that decision. But I think kind of like almost like a misconception in some of these rom-coms. It's almost like, okay, I won't take the big job at here. I won't go to college there because I want to be with you. But like, what about your dreams? What about your ambitions? Who cares about him or her? And it's like, yes, like that love is great and it's amazing. But again, if it's meant to work out, it's gonna find a way.
I agree.
It's not you giving up something you love, because at the end of the day, the only thing that's gonna come from that is resentment in the future, or pain or regret of what could have or should have been. And so I think they weren't willing to make the sacrifices of giving up their careers for each other, which is fine. You should never just be fine. 'Cause again, there are situations where things can work out in different ways, but you never should just be fine with throwing away your career and everything you've worked for, I think, just to be with someone.
Yeah.
Like there has to be something more. There has to be compromise. You can't just be like, well, she's worked 10 years almost, maybe even longer, to be an actress, to get this job, and you're just gonna be like, no, I have to be with my boyfriend. Like,
yeah, and I hate that like in society that's like we are overcoming it, but that message is still there, especially on the women that like, oh, if you get married to someone young or something like that, and they have a career path one way and you have a career path one way, you almost have to give up your career path to follow them, because that's how it was 30 years ago. However, that's not the reality of it. Like, yeah, it's tough to do long distance, but I mean, especially if you're married, it's not just like the relationship's gonna fall apart like that.
exactly.
Like, as long as you're both honest with each other, and with the technology we have in 2025, I mean, come on. Like FaceTime and all that is just, I think in my mind it's a blessing that for so many types of relationships, whether that be friendship, family, romantic. But yeah, I think that I actually respect that message of La La Land, that he and she decided not to give up their passions, their goals, their aspirations that they have been working years for.
Yeah.
For someone that, may have never worked out. And the reality is that because they realized that they weren't ever going to they couldn't separate because of this particular situation in front of them, I think that just showed that their relationship wasn't really going to work out in the end.
Yeah.
Because
I think they realized that their love wouldn't have been strong enough to get them through sacrificing each other's careers to be together.
Just sacrificing in general. And I think that, there's a place for sacrifice and there's a place for I don't want to say selfishness, but keeping your
Yeah.
own space kind of thing. And so I respect that this movie showed that no, it's okay that we can go our separate ways. We have our two different paths, and I have my own career, my aspiration, my goals, my dreams, and same with the person I'm in a relationship. And so, I mean, it is realistic. It's good to compare it to our real lives, but the La La
It
Land
still makes me
creators,
mad.
it still makes me upset. They should have still gotten in together at the end.
It's like, and I think that's just what's so amazing about the movie is it's like we want it so bad, but sometimes it's just not gonna work out. And I'm not gonna say like, oh well, if they had gotten together, it wouldn't have worked out. We don't know. In real life, you'll never know whether a relationship can work out or won't work out.
Life is an unknown. Life
exactly.
is just every single one of us is going with the flow. Like there is no one that is certain that tomorrow is certain for them. Like
exactly.
That doesn't exist for anyone. And so I think that it's the same way with relationships. I think that a lot of it's unknown and a lot of it's a learning curve. And I think that they through that learned.
Yeah, for sure. It's sad and it sucks, but at the end of the day, it ended the way that I think it was supposed to for them.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to our little mid-segment break. We started this last would it be last episode? We started this an episode a few ago where we have decided to do this guess the lyric, like guess who said it. And so because we're talking about La La Land today, it's going to be either guess if Mia or Sebastian said it or a popular artist said this like line or lyric. And so I have a few for Yosa. Yosa has a few for me, and definitely guess along with us before we guess or before you reveal the answer.
All right.
You want to go first?
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're going to do about 4. So here's my first one. The artist is Gracie Abrams, or is it Mia or Sebastian? You could just say like, you don't have to say which character. You'd be like, it's from La La Land.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is, I'm always going to love you, but I don't think we're meant to end up together. Gracie Abrams or Sebastian/Mia?
That's tough because I actually I've never listened to a Gracie Abrams song. However, I feel like that's from La La Land.
That is incorrect.
Really?
It's Gracie Abrams.
Oh,
I know.
No.
I know. It's from this. I think it's from the lyrics. I should hate you or Amelie. I've heard her songs, but I'm not like an avid
I've heard
listener.
her name on TikTok. She was in some like controversy, but I have no clue what's going. I don't know who she is. Like if you show me a picture of her, I'd be like, okay, great. I'm seeing her for the first time. So
okay, all right. Here's the next one. Where'd it go? Okay, people love what other people are passionate about.
People love what other people are passionate about. That's La La Land.
Yeah, Mia said that.
Okay.
Next one is I'm letting life hit me until it gets tired, then I'll hit back.
Is that Gracie Abrams?
Nope, that's Sebastian from La La Land.
Oh, this is tough. This is tough because I don't know this artist. So.
It makes it better, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you watched one of our episodes, like we did one and it was just like
it was terrible.
We had the same artist.
We literally chose the same artist. Okay. Okay, here's this last one. It's not that I stopped loving you, I just stopped waiting for it to work.
This is so hard. It's not that I stopped loving you. This has to be Gracie Abrams.
Yeah, that one's Gracie.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I'm like, I don't remember a scene where any of them would have said that in La La Land.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they dance around it, but they don't say.
Yeah.
All right, you're up.
Okay, so this one is for this first one, I split it in two. So the first artist is Khalid.
Okay.
Or Sebastian or Mia. Okay. La La Land. Let's see. I'm letting life hit me until it gets tired, then I'll hit back.
I think I think that's Sebastian. I think I remember
You're
that
right.
from the movie.
Good job. She's probably gonna be better than me. Okay. I found peace in your violence. Can't tell me there's no point in trying.
Oh, that has to be Khalid. Because I listen to him.
Yeah,
too,
I'm
so
like, this isn't good. Okay, then the next part is either it's Lana Del Rey.
Who I also listen to.
Oh my gosh.
But also, I'm not that big of a
or
listener.
like
Let's see.
Mia or Sebastian
Okay.
from La La Land. Okay. Maybe I'm not good enough.
I feel like that's Mia from La La Land.
You're right.
Because I'm just thinking about this, like, because she was like an actor and like she almost turned down one of the jobs. Like, oh, maybe, yeah.
Okay, dreaming in colors I've never seen before.
Oh, that one's hard. Dreaming in color. Is that La La Land?
Is that your choice?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's.
Finally, I'm not alone. I was
right?
like, am I going to be the only one that got them all wrong? No, that is in fact Lana Del Rey from Heroin is the song.
Oh, I haven't listened to that song.
Okay, so this is so much better than the last one. We did double check with each other to make sure we didn't have the same artist because
Yeah.
that was funny that one
really
time.
Funny that we chose the exact same, even some of the same lyrics,
Yeah.
some of the same lines. It's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh! And then one of us knew it was something, but yeah, that's our little end to our mid
quote.
segment of
Who
our
said
podcast.
it? I don't know.
I think is it who said it? Yeah, I think that is.
Who said it? Either a random artist or Mia or Sebastian.
Let us know if you guys have good ones for us.
Yeah. But kind of just jumping back into La La Land. So I think we kind of want to talk about the 5-year time skip. It's not. Okay, I don't like it when movies do the whole time jump thing and then they see each other and their lives are so different. It's like what could have been, but it'll never be now because, you know, I'm with someone else. I hate that. I was
confused though when I was first watching it. At first I was like at first I wasn't sure what was real. I wasn't sure if it was actually a time skip that was going on or if it was like she just like ended up like I wasn't sure what was reality. I wasn't sure if she ending up with Sebastian was reality or she ending up with her Parisian husband was reality because he was from Paris, right?
It was something like that. I don't know. It was very blurry. Which again, another thing with those time skips is they don't put like 5 years later. Like it's kind of just like you're supposed to kind of inference, which like I get the reason for it because movies aren't supposed to be like show and tell, but it's also kind of like. All right, I don't know what's going on here.
Can we tell a bit? Like, use the words on the screen. You could literally just say 5 years later.
Yeah, what all is.
Oh, yeah, but watch them actually and put like 5 years later and we're just forgetting. Don't quote us.
I didn't pay attention. But
don't quote us.
I think the funny thing about the meeting is that it's not too far-fetched because he's still in LA at that point, isn't he? Or did he move somewhere else?
I feel like because what had happened was that her and her husband decided to go on a date night. They like left their daughter at home or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think they were walking. They saw like a jazz club and they were like, oh, let's check it out. And so they walk in. So obviously she didn't know that this was Sebastian's jazz club 5 years later. And so like they kind of just walk in and she
see each other.
Well, she's sitting, kind of like, you know, laughing with her husband, little date night, and he comes out and then they like make eye contact and it's just like,
gosh, I love
and then
that scene.
and then it literally goes to the 5-year time skip. So I'm like, I wasn't sure if what was a dream, like until after, and then like, you know, she said bye and I was confusing. Like, bro.
But I think kind of like that invisible string theory people always bring up, how it's like if two people are meant to be, they'll always like connect and find like a way back to each other at some point, which I think in a way they fulfilled, but it was just so crazy seeing like the what if of like we could have had this relationship, but like how? Like I think like they're both kind of just sitting there looking at each other because they've been through so much shit that they really did love each other. And it's really hard I would think when a relationship ends, when there's nothing really wrong, there's nothing like you didn't have like a fight, there weren't like disagreements or things that you literally couldn't work past. It was just like there are things that like could have been done that you both just couldn't do. Not that like it's not like, oh, I was resentful that he did this or that, but it's like you just had no choice. You had to choose. They had to put themselves first. And it's like that what if scene of like, okay, well, what if we hadn't put ourselves first? What if we had fought for that relationship? What if we, what if we would still end up being
I
successful?
feel like if they didn't put themselves first, it would have broken the relationship in the end.
100%.
Because like even like in one of my past relationships, I like there was things that was like I could not compromise on, and he kept asking me, "It's like why? Like you're able to compromise on this and that and that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but this specific thing I cannot compromise on, and it's something I value and I believe." And I feel like if I had decided, I'm like, "Oh, I'll compromise on it." One, I wouldn't have been truthful to myself because it would have still been in the back of my mind that, oh, I still feel like this, but I'm just for the relationship to continue, I have to be this way kind of thing. And in the end, the relationship would not have worked out. I can almost promise with 100% surety that when you are trying to compromise something that, whether that be future or career or something like that, those big, or morality or values, when they're those big things, I think that those are things that we shouldn't compromise on. And I'm like proud of Sebastian and Mia for realizing that like my career goals is so up here. And yes, a spouse or a relationship is amazing, and we should all, in my opinion, we should all strive for that. However, you need to find someone that complements and doesn't detract from your goals and your aspirations.
Yeah, I think a good quote is like, some people come into your life to change your direction, not to stay forever. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a perfect example of what me and Sebastian were for each other. We saw they fueled each other's dreams, ambitions, careers. They got to these points that they tried so hard to get to, but they weren't people that were meant to stay together. I mean, even if they did, how would it work? She's an aspiring actress. She's traveling all over the world. You're opening up a club. You have a band here. And now it's going to be long distance, forever? For the next 40 years until she's finally
the biggest
hung
actress,
up.
yeah.
She's finally retired as an actress, and then finally we can spend our life together. It was like there was just no way that they could resolve or compromise, like you're saying, in that relationship. And it's sad to say this, like, what if, but it was almost like the what if was like, that was it. Like, it was never like, oh, this could happen or this would happen, because it never would have. And I think they both knew that in the moment, which is why they kind of like looked at each other in like the scene, and he kind of just like looked away, and like he went back to playing, and she went back to her life, because they knew that was the choice they made, and they were content with it. So,
and I think that in life we should always, like, if you're making a decision and like at the end of the day you're not content with it, then that is the wrong decision. Yeah. However, if you are content with your decision, know that it is the right decision, no matter what, feelings you had back then, or, like what is we're talking about. Like, they both were content with the decisions that they had made. And that tells all of us, no matter, I want the fairy tale happy ending. It tells the truth of the matter that was the correct decision. Yeah. I feel like I'm convincing myself that the ending is actually good. Like, as we're talking more and more, I'm like, wait, like, this sounds completely opposite for what I said in the beginning.
But honestly, like, if they did regret it, then there would be a sequel and they would have gone back together. That's all I'm saying. Like, life is you're gonna find a way back to that person that you're meant to be. I think the invisible string theory is real, but I think also them seeing each other was an acceptance of what had happened, not necessarily. But do you
really think the invisible string theory is real? Like, I can't think of a single person that I have reconnected with from like 15 years ago or something like that.
Well, because I mean, there's certain situations where it's like, did the people that you knew from 15 years ago, would you want to know them now?
Well, I mean, 15 years ago, how old was I? A kid.
8.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with the people I knew when I was 8 years old.
I know, but like, at least from the ones I have heard, like, I've seen like stories on TikTok. People are like, oh, what happened is we were both in like middle or high school. We started dating, and then they had kind
Oh,
of like.
you're talking about like relationship. I'm thinking more like friendship.
I think in a way, like invisible strings theories do work for friendships too.
That's what I was thinking about it, like more so for friendship, not relationship.
But I think like if someone, and like I'm bringing a little bit of religion into this, but if someone is meant to be in your life, God's gonna find a way for them to be put in your life. Like they're gonna be in your life, and again, sometimes you find people that are in your life for only a specific period of time because that's the time that they're meant to be. So I think what the invisible string theory almost like represents is like people are meant to be in your life at a certain time, but they come back to you because it's that full circle of understanding why you met each other, why you were together, why you're friends or in a relationship, whatever it was. And then when you find each other again, it all makes sense. And it's like, okay, that time apart we had, it was for a reason. But I think in Sebastian, Mia's case, the time apart they had, it wasn't like, oh, they had this moment and it was like they were both single or they both were coming out of like broken relationships and it was like they just saw each other like the perfect, like that wasn't what it was for them. You know, it was almost like it was like a concession, or I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but it was almost like this acknowledgement of like, oh, like, you know, I
saw
wasn't
you again. Like I didn't expect to see you here in the middle. Like out of all the jazz clubs, out of all of this, like it's like wow, like you came to mine and you're with your husband. Like it was just, I guess there was so many coincidences, and I think that in a way, I think that maybe the reason, you know, this is kind of like me coming up with kind of theories of the ending of the movie. But I wonder if you know, she felt content about her decision, or he felt content, or maybe one of them didn't. However,
we'll never
seeing
know.
each other at that end and seeing that, oh wait, I am where I wanted to be, and like, you are where you wanted to be.
We didn't move forward with
and like that almost helped one of them, both of them, none of them, I don't know, get that kind of closure. That last, like maybe it was just, you know, in the tiny dot in their heart, that closure to completely seal off, like, I'm okay with my decision 5 years ago, and I see that you're okay with your decision 5 years ago, and I'm so happy for you, and you're so happy for me, and then we go our separate ways because there's no need to continue. Like we were in a relationship, but we are on our own paths, and that's okay. And I think in life that so many of us are on our own paths, we're on our own journeys, and we're discovering so many things. Like we've talked a lot about on this podcast of how there's times where relationships when relationships end, whether that be friendship or romantic, and it's okay. And I think that this just shows that they, for a period of their life, they were in love. They realized that that's what they needed to be in this relationship, but they got what they needed from that relationship. They broke up and they moved on. And I think that in life, you never let anyone keep you stuck where you're at. Always try and strive to continue to move forward, continue to move up in your own personal success. And then I think that at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if you are doing the correct steps to still, you know, have relationships with people, family and friends, but still thinking about yourself and your career and your aspirations, I really doubt that anyone will regret that.
Exactly. And I think the reason people are so upset at the movie is because that is life. That could be you. That could be us. That could be anyone. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you put everything into a relationship and into things you want to work, and sometimes you have to come to the realization that like this isn't meant for me. Maybe what I think, what I've always desired, what I've always wanted, maybe that's not the plan for my life. And I think that's what Sebastian and Mia realized, like you were kind of saying before, that it's like they realized that they couldn't give up each other's careers for each other, and they realized when they could do that. And it's like, then our love wasn't like this like crazy, extraordinary. Because if they could have, then she would have come back from Paris and sought him out. Or he would have gone off tour and found her. Like there would have been something. I doubt that they
deleted each other's numbers and I mean.
Like if he had just like, he couldn't stop thinking about her. If she was the one. Like, you know, things would have happened. But it was obviously like there was a love. But it's like also the love wasn't strong enough for us to, you know, be together despite, you know,
or the love transforms. Like I think that sometimes people can mistake like romantic love for just like a very deep familial or friendship love, and I think that in the end maybe that is how their love turned
maybe
out to
that's
be.
what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Definitely a sad. I won't even say like a sad. It's just like
it's
a
just like opposite
remorseful.
of what we love in romance. Like,
I think it's
stuff.
just the opposite of like any romance. Like I don't think I know
Yeah.
any romance movies where they don't end up together.
I mean, I'm sure there are, but it's just like
It's
mainstream
so,
ones.
It's
yeah.
so like
Rare.
unpopular, like not necessarily unpopular. It's just rare and like you almost never see it. But again, I really do like the movie because it shows a reality of it. But I guarantee if I watched it again right now, I'd be really mad.
I was so mad when I
would
watched
get
it 2 years
so
ago.
I would actually crash out. Like I would be like, no, yeah, it's reality. But if I watched it, I'd be like, I'm done. I'm never watching this movie.
I think I said that. I was like, I'm never watching this movie again.
Yeah, you won't catch me watching that. As great as it is, no. I've been through the heartbreak once. Thank you. Like the heartbreak wasn't just for them; it was for the people watching it.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that's kind of all we have for La La Land for this movie. Definitely, like we said, definitely like a sad movie. But at the end of the day, it shows reality. It shows the struggles of life and how that decisions we make can impact literally the trajectory of our lives. But I think it's kind of all we have. Just make sure you give this video a like if you've made it through everything in this video. If you made it this far, make sure to subscribe and turn on push notifications if you haven't already. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and leave a comment if you guys like this video. Comment what other video or movies you guys want us to talk about, or even TV shows, maybe even books. We're open to anything. So
let us know who your favorite character is from La La Land. Do you love Mia? Do you love Sebastian? Do you love the typical best friend?
There's always one.
There's always one.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right.